I know that the physics of 2 children is very different than the physics for 1 child.
I was feeling tremendous guilt towards the end of my pregnancy. I felt like I was cheating on my son with another child.
I have this rule where I'm like, oh, I really liked having 2 hands per child, and now I have as many children as they do arms.
I love having 2 kids. I love it. I love it. I love having 2 kids.
The second is easier.
Hi guys, it's Heather Armstrong from Deuce.com. And seeing as I am gonna go into labor here anywhere in the next 4 to 5 weeks, I thought we could talk about preparing ourselves for the second child. I feel like I've done a lot of the legwork. I know what the sleepless nights are like. I know what feeding schedules and sleeping schedules, and I know what it's like to have to pack your entire life to leave the house for 10 minutes. As much as I can say that I'm prepared for another one, I know that the physics of 2 children is very different than the physics for 1 child. I mean, I don't even know if there's anything you can do to prepare for that difference.
I did not prepare myself mentally for having a second child at all, really. The month leading up to labor and delivery, I completely freaked out. I thought I was going to be totally overwhelmed, and I have this rule where I'm like, oh, I really liked having 2 hands per child, and now I have as many children as they do arms, and am I going to be able to handle that?
I was feeling tremendous guilt towards the end of my pregnancy. I felt like I was cheating on my son with another child. In fact, when my doctor told me that I was 5 centimeters dilated and basically in labor and then I needed to go to the hospital, I cried. Like, I burst into tears.
I don't think that what I'm feeling is necessarily guilt as much as it is a sadness, a profound sadness at the passing of this phase of our lives. That emotion may change in the next few weeks, and like Rebecca, I might be in absolute tears on the way to the hospital going, I'm cheating on my firstborn.
Well, Heather, I completely relate to everything you're going through. I was there just 12 weeks ago, and I can really reassure you that the second is easier. I mean, provided you don't have some total nightmare child, which I personally kept praying and affirming on when I was carrying this little guy. And I kind of got lucky, except for him being a bigger spitter-upper. He's actually an easier baby than my first.
I'll tell you, my second experience about everything other than being pregnant, because I went into preterm labor with number 2. But other than that, my labor, my birth, and the aftermath, breastfeeding, everything was so much more simple than with number 1. And I think it's just because I had my little toolbox in the back of my brain and I knew what was gonna happen. Right when something started to spark up, I could grab that tool and, totally go after whatever was my problem.
You're more confident your second time around. I did not freak out as much. I was such an anxious, uptight, just worrisome mother. Sometimes I think that all of that sort of robbed the joy of having my firstborn. And with my second child, I was almost, dare I say, hippie. I was completely relaxed.
You know, a lot of people told me that when you had a second child, it's double the work. I was thinking like, okay, this is gonna be really hard. I'm not gonna get any work done. And I've actually been pleasantly surprised that I have been able to sort of go on business as usual, although I could use a nanny.
We've managed to get our 5-year-old daughter to 5 with relatively little injury or psychosis or neurosis. So, we did, however, wait 5 years to have another kid, and that was on purpose. We waited until we thought that we were prepared, because the first time around knocked us completely over, and we had to wait to get our footing on the ground again before we were going to even think about adding another body into the mixture.
I know you went through postpartum depression with your first one, and the really cool thing about that and being mentally prepared for that is that because you already went through it, you're gonna know the signs if you have that with your second. I had it with my first and I had it with my second, but the second, right away my husband knew and I knew, and I had no shame in it because I was like, all right, this is totally normal, and is this baby blues? I just knew a lot more, I was schooled, I guess.
You are essentially, with your second child, honing the skills and everything that you learned the first time around with your firstborn. I know that when I had my second child, I could at that point have breastfed while driving a tractor. I could change a diaper under the most dire of circumstances, like in the scene from Death Proof when Zoe Bell is hanging onto the hood of that white Challenger by 2 belt straps and she's flipping around while they drive like 100 miles an hour. I could have been Zoe Bell in that scene and have changed the diaper.
It's gonna be a lot easier. And in a way, the thing about a second is you get to have more fun. Because since you've gotten the basic mechanics out of the way, this time, especially since I know this is my last one, it better be my last one, I can just gaze at him and know that even though he's waking me up at 5:30 right now and I got spit up on everything, you know, it's the last time I'm gonna have this, and this little time only lasts for so long, and so I feel like you get to savor it and enjoy it more.
It wasn't just my heart expanding, it was like everything just being so much better. I could not love Archer anymore. Like, I love him so much, it hurts. And having another child has made me love him even more, because I see him as a brother, and he's such an amazing brother, and it breaks my heart in the best way. When I took him to school yesterday, Archer was holding Fable's hand the entire time. I looked in my rearview mirror and there were my kids holding hands.
Rebecca, can I even tell you the image of my 2 children holding hands just about crushed me. I cannot wait for that to happen to me. Like, I'm so looking forward to that occasion. Like, even thinking about it, I'm like, how did my mom survive that image? Like, how has she moved on with her life knowing that her children held hands? I mean, does it get better than that, right?
The conversation is happening now at Momversation.com.